from going from K Dot to Kung Fu Kenny to Mr. Morale to now he has his moniker of the Boogeyman. Seeing this next evolution, hey man, it's gonna get scary, it's gonna get spooky, man. Like the Boogeyman Kendrick is here, dog. Hey man, shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop. We gotta say how Kendrick Lamar just revealed when his album is dropping. Alright, let's get into it, man.
Now, as this year in hip hop continues, it's safe to say that there is nothing people are more excited for than whatever is going to come from Kendrick Lamar next. And as from confirmation from his close collaborators and friends to what he has lined out on his most recent track, we now know that Kendrick does have an album coming and that it's going to be a significant one, even for his standards. But now, as we wait and speculate on when this project is coming and when Kendrick is going to kick off the rollout in full gear, recently there has been more information that we have gotten a hold of that has unraveled a lot surrounding the mystery of when Kendrick is going to come back next and when he is going to be releasing what is easily becoming one of the most anticipated rap albums of the entire century at this point. And now, before we can get into this new information and understand when Kendrick is going to be coming at the time that he does, we need to look at the definitive timeline of where everything is headed for Kendrick Lamar as a whole, which of course has one key date that is the centerpiece to all of this, which is February 9th, 2025, which is of course when Super Bowl 59 will be going down in New Orleans and Kendrick will be.
And I think the Grammys is a little bit before then too, I believe. So yeah, man, that entire week, like that entire month, like that's Black History Month too. Oh, ooh, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Performing to over 100 million people live on television in the biggest musical event of the year at the halftime show. And now, of course, this date is at the core of everything for Kendrick because this moment will enable him, with all of the eyes and the attention on it, to be the biggest and most powerful artist and figure that he could possibly be. So everything for the rollout of this album, and for this entire era of his career for that matter, has to be perfectly aligned to this one night for Kendrick to accomplish the goals that he has shown to be very adamant about achieving on his most recent track. And so now, being in mind of this and understanding that at this point, beyond just Dre, Kendrick is trying to reset the very culture that dominates the hip hop and music industry today to a much more pure spot. The name of the game for him is all about the momentum he will be able to keep up, because while we know Kendrick is going to have all the skill and lyrical ability to articulate these points in greater detail when he finally puts this body of work out, what he has to make sure is that he's maintaining this level of dominance that only few other rappers have ever been able to achieve in terms of how much power the sheer appearance of their presence can ignite. So now,
And with this album, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, like what's gonna happen with the actual like evolution of Kendrick. But man, from going from K Dot to Kung Fu Kenny to Mr. Morale to now he has his moniker of the Boogeyman. Seeing this next evolution, hey man, it's gonna get scary, it's gonna get spooky, man. Like the Boogeyman Kendrick is here, dog. So let's see it.
now with this in mind, we can draw together that even after the 6 songs Kendrick released and was featured on between March and September, he still has more tracks in the tuck that he will
I
be
see you,
putting out,
Channing.
because as Not Like Us is finally starting to lose steam in terms of the standard it has been at for months, which has been a guaranteed top 5 hit on the Billboard Hot 100, as it's been sitting at the bottom of the top 10 recently and only seems like it's going to move down as a lot of other artists are releasing new music right now. The power that record commands on the charts will start to wane, and now with the point we are at in this year currently, it almost seems like Kendrick knew it was going to start to decline around this time, and that this is exactly what he wanted, because before the end of the year, he is planning to deliver what may end up being multiple genre-stopping moments that will end up building up the hype for this record and everything to come even more than it already has been. And now by doing this, Kendrick does not seem like he is going to release solo music. But from what we know, it's looking like he is going to be a surprise feature on other rappers' material and not just any other rappers. But the first and more obvious collab that we should be getting this year will be between Kendrick and Baby Keem, as according to Keem and the people around him, as his long-awaited album that has now been 3 years in the making, Child with Wolves, is supposed to release in 2024. While the clock is definitely ticking, Kendrick could definitely make another genre stopping moment working alongside his own family member and PG Lang artist. And now, as Kendrick's goal is to bring back hip hop to a place where it is more pure and away from the gimmicks that have polluted the state of the genre today. Looking at the big picture of this all, it would also make a lot of sense if Keem dropped an album before Kendrick just sets everything off on his own.
And that's gonna be it's gonna have to be hard, King. It's gonna have to be crazy because the attention gonna be on you. See, all the Kendrick fans, like they still like who they're kind of adjacent to the Baby Keem fans, and then just all of hip hop is just gonna be tuning in just to see, hell, if Kendrick gonna pop up on the album, if he gonna have a guest feature, what Kendrick's gonna say, if Baby Keem's gonna say something mentioning Kendrick or something, like just weird shit. So Keem gotta come with some, man, and you gonna have to deliver because Kendrick's his audience, his attention is gonna be on you. So man, let's see what Keem gonna do.
Because as he will have some sort of input and creative direction on what Keem is doing, this will help showcase that Kendrick's mission is so much bigger than just himself or Drake, as it will be translating the core of his message through another star in the rap game who is only growing by the second, but now beyond just this, and where the new definitive information plays into this equation. There is a feature that Kendrick has sent recently to another rapper that is going to pop off the genre in a way that will have a similar ripple effect to like that, just in terms of the shock and power.
What's the play about Cardi? Yeah, I think I said heard something about him doing a song with Cardi. Playboy, oh man, come on, hey,
Play it will be for Kendrick to link up with this set of artists. And now, who I am talking about here,
and that's crazy considering, especially what's going on. I wonder what kind of song they make it. Hey, considering Cardi and his background and his his type of music, I fuck with Cardi. Like, okay, think of my last Spotify what was it, like Spotify rewind type shit. I think I had like Kendrick was number one, and like Playboy Cardi was like top three. Like I love listening to Cardi when I'm working out, man. But hey, he is he is one of them 6'6" antichrist one of them motherfuckers. Like he on that type of time and so on. I wonder how that's go merge.
other than Pusha T, as with Push, as he is teamed back up with his brother No Malice to reunite their legendary duo Clipse for their first album since 2009, which will also be in.
Oh, Pusha T. Mmm. Mmm. That's hey man.
Entirely produced by none other than Pharrell Williams, which just with Pharrell a part of this, it adds even more. As Push was doing an interview and talking about this album, he confirmed that Nas, John Legend, and Stove God Cooks were going to be featured, and that he is waiting on a mystery feature from an artist that he can't name. And between how cryptic he says this and the smirk that Push makes, and when we look at all of the possible people that this feature could be, the only other option besides Kendrick is Jay-Z, and as they just did a song on Push's last album, it wouldn't be as big and shocking of a moment and one that needed to be this mystery. When you're aware of this, and then also the fact that in the background of this interview on the TV, there is a video of a fashion show playing that is taking place on a Chanel stage, which Kendrick Lamar was the co-designer of. This all seems like Push's very cryptic and subliminal way of trying to let people who are really paying attention know that this collab is coming, and Kendrick will be linking up with him and Pharrell for a track on their new album that is set to drop towards the end of the year. And now with this Kendrick and Push song seems like it could not be a more perfect collab, or could come at a better time, as since these are both guys who absolutely embarrassed Drake, and also looking back on Kendrick's diss tracks and remembering that he referenced Push on Euphoria. All of this just feels like a full circle moment, which once again will make Kendrick's entire plan for this year seem so much more masterful, as we just recognize how many layers and how thought out all of this has been. And now from here, with a Baby Keem collab and album that should happen if Keem holds up to his word, and a
That's gonna be crazy, man. If that's actually true. Like the chess moves that Kendrick has made, like the documentary is just about the chess moves themselves. Like it's gonna be crazy, man.
Pusha T and Pharrell link up that we can almost 99% confirm. Kendrick Lamar is going to close out 2024 just shattering the rap world once again with more genre-stopping moments. And so now tying this back to the album that we all want to hear, it's also important to note that if we look within the music industry and see that the general unwritten rule of this business is that the industry goes to sleep in December, Kendrick would have all the momentum he needs to drop during December. And as this upcoming album is setting itself up to be heavily anti-industry, and Kendrick has literally been releasing music during when major industry events have been going down, like at Michael Rubin's White Party with the Not Like Us video and during the VMAs with his most recent track, Kendrick shaking up the industry in a moment when they are least expecting it would follow in this trend. And adding on to this even more, following in the trend of releasing music on holidays or days of historical significance, this could very well lead to this album coming out on Christmas or right around the peak of the holiday season. But now with this said, is every time it seems like we figure out what Kendrick's pattern is of what he does, he starts to switch course? I don't think he's going to be releasing an album here, although I wouldn't be too...
I see you, Channing. I see you. Talking about Kendrick coming for J Spot, and I can see that. As just the curator for the culture, the same way that Jay-Z is doing with the Super Bowl. And though, yeah, they gonna start inviting Kendrick for those things. Like they just invited Kendrick for the Chanel fashion show to design that. They're gonna start inviting Kendrick to do these type of things as well. So yeah, I I see you, Kendrick, man.
too shocked if we got a single or some sort of new music, because looking forward, with the goal Kendrick is trying to accomplish, which is to hit the reset button on the entire industry, all of these moments just seemed a little too clumped up together to happen like that, and in all honesty,
So what if phone flipping, barbering,
Man, move.
makes sense for Kendrick to play his entire hand before the Super Bowl, which then leads us now into 2025, and specifically, Super Bowl season itself. And now considering how the halftime show works and how it always boosts up artists' entire brand value and catalog to the highest point it could pretty much ever be at in terms of consumption and attention as the entire world is watching you, Kendrick will have the most momentum and motion right at this time. But again, as Kendrick is trying to not just make a moment, but change an entire industry, just like on Christmas or during the end of 2024. Dropping the whole album around the Super Bowl just seems like it may make the release messy, and while it would definitely shake the entire world on impact, I don't know what the long-lasting impact of it would be, as the statement may just be way too shocking for Kendrick to just jump right into it after the most televised event of the year. And I think knowing the tactician and strategist that Kendrick is, he is definitely aware of this, and probably the best thing for him to do, and what I think he will end up doing following the Super Bowl, is dropping what will become the lead single of the album, to then follow in the lineage of Not Like Us as a massive hit and create another show-stopping banger that will dominate the charts, and then from there, this will leave him with an album timeline that is bound to be released within the middle of 2025. And now from here, based on Kendrick's past album rollouts, release dates, and just thinking about how any rapper would leverage their momentum, while nothing is for certain based on all of the facts of what we know and the roadmap that Kendrick still has set out from now to then, I think we can determine that this album has to be releasing between March and May of 2025. And with my best guess, it looks like we'll get 1 or 2 singles and the Hard Part 6 all within this time, and then finally the actual...
Yeah, the real hard part 6. Cause I don't even know what they call the Watch the Party song. It's still untitled. So yeah, Kendrick will come through with the real hard part 6. Completely cleanse that palette from that bullshit that Drake dropped. I don't know, man. That's one of the worst aged diss tracks, man. The Epstein is what I could have. The Epstein angle is what I expected. Oh my God.
album within the spring of 2025, which, considering the fact that Kendrick is trying to establish a stronghold on the music industry for the foreseeable future, and again, he's not trying to make this a moment, but a full-on movement that actually makes some sort of impact on the things he is speaking out against. With this thought out of a rollout which will eventually lead to an album that is so anticipated, and that should drop in the time where it is the best season for blockbuster albums to make their impact, Kendrick genuinely will be able to enact the change he wants to and make what could end up being the greatest and most important statement of his career. But overall, at this point, while it may seem like that Kendrick album is far away, I think it's important to really just appreciate the journey we are witnessing him on, because this is genuinely one of the most exciting and impactful ways a rapper, or artist as a whole for that matter, has ever moved. And now with more features inbound, singles that will be coming, and a performance at the Super Bowl, As fans and spectators, we are about to witness some of the most exciting music we will ever see, and I would be surprised if all of this was not worth the wait and more. So now with all this said, let me
Hey man, shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop, dog, for another dope ass video, man.